Image isn't everything. It's the only thing. At least, that is according to the diet experts and the exercise junkies, who have us demented in their quest to have us all slimmer, trimmer, and fitter. Come on, girls, you all know the mantra. Nice on the lips. Come on. And twice on the hips. And little pickers wear bigger knickers. Correct and right. So this evening I'd like to demonstrate to you how the wellness experts and the lifestyle gurus, in their mission to transport us to the nirvana of health and beauty, are in fact driving us all to drink. Except of course we're not allowed that either. Do I look like some class of an idiot that leaps out of bed in the morning, slips on my lurid lycra and bounds off out the door for a bracing 6-mile bash down the local landfill site, also known as Dollymount Strand, before returning to a power breakfast of protein powder and water? Which tastes, what else would it taste like? It's a powder and water. You'd get up in the night for a feed of that stuff. You are what you eat. Now what does this mean? Could it mean that some of us here are fast and cheap? I hope not. I was at one of those healthy eating festivals recently. I never saw so many unhealthy looking people in my entire life. God help them, we're like the walking dead. We're all supposed to be eating healthy food. We're supposed to be eating bales of fibre and drinking barrels of designer water every day. One of these presenters, he was an eco-warrior type, and he was given this presentation on fluoridation in the water, I think it was. And he said, there are so many hidden dangers, he said, in the tap water, I wouldn't even wash myself in it. That's what he said. That explained the smell of rotten cabbage. You heard of wash and go. Well, this was go and wash. You see, these food fascists, they know what's wrong with everything. The vegetables are sprayed with Agent Orange. Eat fish and you glow in the dark. Eat red meat and you go gaga. Everything is bad for us. My next door neighbour, he recently celebrated 40 years of married bliss. So he took his wife out to a fancy restaurant. Do you know, one of those fancy restaurants where you have to keep remembering not to say thanks to the waiter? He ordered the steak. The waiter says to him, what about the mad cow? Oh, she can order for herself. So I'm sitting at home wolfing into a jelly jelly ice cream and just flicking through the channels just to show that men can indeed multitask. The next thing, this rather emaciated looking glamour puss pops up on the television screen. Not joking, there wasn't a pick on her. As my Uncle Pat used to say, there was more meat in a butcher's pencil. Do you know the type of girl I'm talking about? If she's absolutely leaping with the hunger, she might buy herself a bag of crisps. And if she gets really hungry, she might lick one. So the goon of a presenter, in his attempt at being flirtatious, he said to her, oh, tell me, he says, how do you manage to stay so slim? Oh, she see, sometimes I simply forget to eat. My jelly jelly nearly hit the floor. Forget to eat. Now, I have to be honest with you. Once in IKEA, I forgot where I parked the car. But I never forget to eat. I think that requires a particular brand of stupidity. Now don't get me wrong, I've nothing against anyone who wants to eat like a sparrow. They don't have to keep chirping on about it. What is a diet anyway? Toty Field said a diet is a system whereby you starve yourself to death so that you can live longer. That doesn't make sense. Now it seems that every moment we have, we're supposed to be down there in the gymnasium, working out, pumping iron and sweating like horses. Yes. Now you might think, to look at this finely honed physique and this rather pert gluteus maximus, that I am the epitome of physiological perfection. I hadn't factored in any laughs there, John. Anyway, you probably think I'm in the gym day and night, but no, au contraire. I never really felt easy in the gymnasium. All those dog-rough characters, thick bull necks on them, tacky tattoos and bulging biceps, prancing around the place. Some of them have to turn sideways to get in through the door. And the men are as bad. It's true. I met this man down there one night, covered head to toe in tattoos. On closer inspection, he had the entire map of Ireland on his body. Would you believe that? Now, I don't know whether women find that kind of thing attractive or not, but at least you knew where you stood with it. Am I right? So, forget this no pain, no gain nonsense. No pain, no pain. Now, there is a motto. Life is too short to be analysing food labels and counting calories. Life's about appreciating what you have now. It's about realising that the important things in life are not things. It's about spreading peace and joy wherever you go. And not, as Oscar Wilde once said, whenever you go. Having a skinny backside and a washboard stomach is hardly going to bring you peace. Crucifying yourself for punishing exercise regimes, scourging yourself with diets that drive you and everyone around you crazy is hardly the recipe for a contented life, now is it? William Feather once said, many people miss out on their share of happiness, not because they never found it, but because they never stopped to enjoy it. So tell the exercise junkies to go and take a hike. Tell the diet doctors and the food factories to get stuffed. Eat more jelly telly ice creams, drink more frothy cappuccinos, laugh more, especially at yourself. And remember this. You have to get this. Lean forward. You ready? There were people on Titanic who waved away the dessert trolley. You don't have to look like a shop mannequin to have an amazing life. And if you want to, if you feel you really have to, you can still soar like an eagle. But just remember this also. A weasel never got caught in the propellers of a jet engine. So take it easy, my friends. But do take it. And finally, even though I know I'm fairly restricted on time here, John, just to mention one thing. If you're feeling a little bit sorry for yourself, that you can't afford a pair of shoes, look at the man who's no feet and ask him, has he any shoes he doesn't need? People often come up to me and they say to me in Toastmasters, and they say, I want to be funny. And I do always say the same thing to them. I just say, Toastmasters does not require that you are funny. Toastmasters require that you present clearly and effectively, that you have a message and you impart your message to the audience. You may or may not use humour to do that. Humour is a tool that we use in Toastmasters to get attention. Our objective is to get our message across to the audience. Our message is not to get laughs. Stand-up comedians have to have laughs. We don't have to get them. But if we use humour in an effective way, we may make our speech better. Does that make a point? Do you understand what I'm saying? We're not into stand-up comedy. We're into humorous speaking. And humour is a tool. The second thing I'd like to say to you is, if you're into humour, writing humour, presenting, one of the things I find is that you have to actually feel funny. You have to get into a funny state. And the way I do this is, I've been doing this for a long time now, I just don't listen to the news. I don't listen to bad stuff. I just don't do it. I'm not interested. I'm not even going to apologise, but I'm not interested in what's going on in Afghanistan. It's just not in my reality. So I just avoid it and try and make a little bit of space in my head and try and feel good most of the time. That's the second thing. Another thing you can do is go onto YouTube. Go into YouTube and put on any of the comedians in there, Tommy Tiernan, Billy Connolly, Mark Wise, Fools and Horses, anything, and just look at the structure, look at the way they use humour, and just immerse yourself in it. Look at the structure, the timing, the whole breakdown of the thing, and you will just see how it is all very clearly fits into a plan. So you can go in there, and it's a free resource, fantastic resource. Another thing you can do is you can hang around funny people. We all know funny people, yes? I remember when I worked one day, I was getting into the lift, and I met a colleague. At the time, I was involved in some group, a children's group I was going to Lourdes with. And he said to me, he said, you going anywhere on any holidays? I said, I'm actually going to Lourdes, I said, but I'm a bit concerned it might be very hot. What do you think, will it be hot in Lourdes? Oh yes, he said. All those candles. People would pay for that kind of stuff. Another colleague of mine, he was always complaining about how his son wouldn't take in his washing. And I said to him, would you not use a laundrette? He said, I used to, he said, but I got fed up wearing other people's underwear. This is just free stuff. But you have to keep your mind open and free and hear it. I want to say a little bit about the setup. It's very important to take responsibility for your setup. What I mean is, particularly if you're, say, in contests in a club, and the room isn't particularly full, and maybe there's a lot of people spread all over the room, bring everybody together, bring them all up the front. Have you ever noticed in comedy, stand-up comedy acts, and they're all in cellars or in basements, where they're all packed in closely together. So bring everybody together and arrange the stage for yourself. If there's a table or something in your way, just take responsibility and make the space you have and make it as comfortable for yourself. You have to give yourself every chance. I remember one time, and I remember it really well because it was the biggest disaster ever I had in speaking humorously. I did an outdoor event. Absolute disaster. It was as if all my words just sailed off into the breeze. People were just looking at me and saying, what's he doing up there? What's happening? So don't go outdoors. Stay in. Pull everybody together. The last thing I want to say to you, I see the light coming on down there now. The last thing I want to say to you is really, really, really important. And it's this. Again, people who come to me, and this doesn't just apply to humour, but to anything in Toastmasters. New members or guests come along and they say to me, and I'm sure everybody's experienced this, they say, I've just looked at that speaker up there, I could never do that. Have you heard people saying that? Yeah. And what I like to say to me is, look what I said, if you're here and you want to get to here, you cannot do it in one step. If you do it in one step, what will happen is you'll probably fall, you'll become disheartened, and you'll give up. You must decide what is your next step. So I would ask each of you tonight, wherever you are in Toastmasters, or wherever you are in your life indeed, what is your next step? And it's very easy to identify it because sometimes it may actually be surrounded with some fear. There may be some fear around it. But you'll know yourself what your next step is and determine that you're going to take that next step. Now, very finally, have we time for any questions? Sure. No? No time? Okay. So, nothing else to say then. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening.